Today we will be painting the backgrounds for our fruit still life. And let me just show you an example. This is just one example of a still life. And you might notice the background, of course, is everything that's behind our basket of fruit. And in this picture, you can see this student chose to do a blue sky and then a black table. Think about where you want your basket of fruit. If it's in the grass, you'll have grass down here and then the blue sky. Maybe it's a checkered tablecloth, the red and white checks. You could draw that on here. Maybe it's a brown table. Think about what you want your basket sitting on, because we will create a basket and with fruit and vegetables inside. So think about that. We are going to be doing that today on our paper. You should have a piece of paper and a pencil. The first thing you always want to do on the back of your paper is write your first name, last name, and our class code. Remember, it's 3 and then either A, B, or C. Then I'm going to turn my paper over and I'm ready to start thinking about the design. Remember, artists always start drawing in pencil. So that's what I'm going to start with. And the first thing I need to do is find the horizon line. And remember, the horizon line is where the sky meets the ground. Or maybe it's where the wall meets the floor or the table. But we need a line. Now that line can either be right in the center, it could be a little bit below, it could be a little bit above, depending on what view you want to be looking at. I'm going to make mine just a little bit below. Once I've got that line on there, I need to decide, what am I going to have my basket sitting on? Is it going to sit on a table? Is it going to sit on grass? Is it inside? Is it outside? Think about those things. Also, let's say you're going to do your check tablecloth. Now would be the time that you would mark off those checks and go ahead and draw those. Once you've done that, then it's time to get started painting, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the brushes. And as you know, I've named my brushes. I've got Papa Bear, he's the biggest brush, used for, and actually I'll be using Papa Bear today because I've got some big areas I want to paint in. Mama Bear is a little bit smaller. And then of course Baby Bear, that's for the very fine details. I also have Teenager, which is, we could put right in between Mama Bear and Baby Bear. So these brushes are available to you, and you need to decide what brush works best. Today, like I said, I'm going to be using the Papa Bear brush because I've got some big areas that I want to paint into. You will also need a container of water. Don't forget, I have marked a line on my cup showing you how high that water should go. So that line is on there to show you that. So I need that. I'm going to need paints, and you know my paints are here in the ice cube trays, and I'm going to need a paper towel. So I'm going to set these paint brushes aside and my pencil aside. And once you start painting, so I'm going to decide what color I want in the background. Once you start painting, you're going to dip your paintbrush into the paint. Remember, we're not going to get that paint on the metal part of our paintbrush, just on the bristles. And you're going to go ahead and start painting. Now the fun thing about this paint, I can either go straight across, and my paint strokes would look just like this. Or I can get expressive. I can go back and forth this way. And again, you are the artist. You may choose how you would like your background to be. Do you want the background all one color? Do you want it multiple colors? The one thing I do insist is that you completely cover your paper with paint. I don't want to see any white paper. So you can see I'm kind of going with my brush strokes back and forth. That really creates some nice texture in the background. I've only used one color. Now I could use another color, but I think I'm going to keep my background simple so the focus of my artwork really focuses in on the basket. So I have painted my the top part of my background. Now, whenever I dip into a new color of paint, I've got blue on here. I can't dip right into another color. What I need to do is wash that paintbrush off. What I like to do is rub it there on the bottom of the container. Then I like to wipe it on each side. This is when I would pick up my paintbrush or my paper towel and the paintbrush and give it a little squeeze. You want it to be clean and dry before you dip into another color. Now I've got to decide on the bottom half. I think I'm going to go with purple. And this time, instead of going back, going kind of in a crisscross method, I'm just going to go back and forth. I think it is going to create a nice balance to all that crisscrossing. I'm going to go back and forth like this. Now, we've talked a little bit about this, but if you want to make your still life more realistic, that means real to life, you may want to, like I said, paint grass or paint a table. I'm choosing to do mine a little more abstract and just choose colors that I like to make a nice bright composition. So again, you are going to paint your entire paper. When you are finished, I want you to go back and check to see if there's any other areas that need to be painted. Once you're finished, you are going to set your brush aside, carry this over to the drying rack. Remember, your name must be on the back. Once you've carried over to the drying rack, don't forget, you've got a mess on the table. That needs to be cleaned up. All your paintbrushes need to be thoroughly cleaned. You can do that right there in your container and wash the bottom, rub it on the side, clean it off, and then all of these brushes get put back in the correct spot. Your pencil gets put back, and don't forget when you're carrying your tub of paints, this ice cube tub of paints, you are going to put those over, you're going to carry it with 2 hands and put it over on the supply area, that paint station. So I hope you enjoyed doing your backgrounds today. Don't forget to clean up thoroughly when you're finished. Have fun.